good intercultural communicator. So it started off with motivation. And at first I didn't understand because I literally just read the word motivation and I was like, what? But it makes sense. Like, and it's said that it's considerably the most important trait to have in competency as far as intercultural communication. And it pretty much was saying, like, if you don't have the motivation to communicate with people interculturally, then essentially there's no purpose in it. And so, like, another thing that it mentioned was, if there's not a willingness or desire to learn about others and to be flexible, then it just kind of shuts out that ability for you to welcome that kind of dialogue with someone or establish a relationship. And honestly, I feel like, when we are closed-minded like that, we just never know what a person's background is. We never know what we could do for someone else and vice versa. We could be certainly blocking blessings with that. But it also kind of elaborated in reasons why a person may not be motivated to indulge in intercultural communication. For instance, powerful people, again. They did not find it important to learn about other cultures. So, like, they're just closed-minded and, think they're high and mighty and just too high up in the chains to be educated or learn, because sometimes they kind of think they know it all themselves.
Or that they're better than everybody, so they have no need to learn about other people because they're the best.
Another reason they mentioned was there not being any type of incentive. As Americans, sometimes we are motivated by an incentive of something. For instance, we go to work for a check, or we go to happy hour to
get a buzz.
To get a buzz and to celebrate a long week or whatever. Right. Or so they're pretty much like, well, what am I getting out of it? Okay, if I'm not getting anything out of it, then I don't want to be dealing with it. But on the other hand, it mentioned that tragic incidents and historical incidents make people more inclined to learn. For instance,
September 11th.
Exactly.
I can't.
Exactly. So September 11th made Americans want to be more aware of, terrorism, or just historical, about, the other
potential
cultures.
Dangers.
Right. Just in general, like the motivation behind that, and, learning about our history as America and what may have driven someone to do something like that. Another one I came up with was the Baltimore riots. And the reason why I feel like the Baltimore riots was kind of like one of those tragic or historical incidents is because it went from police brutality to literally just the riots. Because, honestly, not to be insensitive, but I feel like police brutality was just widespread and happening everywhere. But I feel like when it hit Baltimore is when it took a turn, and things in awareness became much more like prevalent. Yes, they had a trial for Trayvon Martin. Yes, they had vigils. Yes, they may have had protests and things like that. But the riot, to me, like, sent a different message. Like, there was destruction going on, and, the National Guard was involved. There was talks of martial law being put in place and things like that. And so I think that will be forever, like, engraved in our minds and in our history. And it's unfortunate that, the police, like, the riots kind of superseded the whole purpose of what it was for, which was police brutality. But at least people will remember that people in Baltimore took a stand.
Well, you have to also remember, though, history repeats itself. And
absolutely.
So this is not... Baltimore reference is very accurate for this day and age.
Right.
But it also relates to the LA riots back then, and the cause of that started with police brutality as well.
Right.
And I have to remember back in the 60s and in Detroit, and so many other instances like that. But I definitely agree with what you said. But I don't know. I think that. It was a defining moment in our current history, and I think it will go down in history like, Baltimore, they ain't playing, so. And I think a lot of other cities actually took a message from that, because you kind of see it now. It's not just, this one year is a riot. Right. It's like every